Over the past years, I've been training a lot of sales professionals. And what I learned is that there's a difference between knowledge and skill. And as a result, we've noticed that a lot of people have knowledge, but that the level of skill is a challenge, and that leads to a productivity issue. What I'm going to explain to you where that comes from and how we can improve upon that. What I'm going to use here is what is called the Dunning-Kruger curve. And what this curve represents is that early on when I acquire knowledge, either through a book or through a YouTube video, I estimate my knowledge to be very high. However, on that topic. However, when I learn more about that topic, I come to the conclusion that it's actually a lot more complicated. And as a result, I see that my knowledge goes down. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't know. I didn't know what I know until I now know. And then over time, I start building my knowledge back up again. I learn more and I become more sophisticated than that. Obviously, that is amplified today with the use of the internet, as I can get more and more detailed information faster and faster. This really helps, for example, in the medical world. If you're struck with a disease, you can read up on the symptoms, and the next day at the doctor's office, you can ask pretty intelligent questions in order to help you understand what's going on with you. A great application of gaining knowledge. But because I can ask these great questions of the doctor, that does not make me a doctor. And that indicates that I have gained knowledge, but I'm still missing. The difference between knowledge and skills can really be understood when I think of it as learning how to swim. I can read a book on how to swim. I can explain to other people reading the book how swimming takes place, what is the best way of swimming, and so on and so forth. But that doesn't make me a swimmer. To become a swimmer and own the skill of swimming, I essentially have to get into the water and learn how to swim and do it myself. And that is referred to as a skill. Now, if I draw along that same curve now and see that the growth of how does my skill improve, skill takes time, it takes repetition, it takes learning from your mistakes. And so in order for the skill level to go up, it sometimes takes years. What we see today is that an amateur will never spend that energy on it and often stays an amateur. Now, if I start focusing my skills on it, it will take me 2 years to become a professional at it, and it may take me 4, 5, 6 years if I immerse myself in it to become actually a fairly decent expert at it with the amount of information. Now, unfortunately, what we have is today we have a tenure in a job that lasts between 1 and 2 years. That means that you may not acquire the productivity that you normally would get in the jobs of like about 4 years. You don't acquire that in the years 1.5. And so now what we have helped people gain knowledge by giving them training. We help them earn the skill by doing it, but the productivity that we needed in return to it is delayed and is not there until they left the job, and so we never get the productivity. How do we get people to be productive in 3 to 6 months so that with an average tenure of 1.5 years, we at least get a year of productivity out of a person? What that means is that we no longer need to think about knowledge as something that we need to relay, but that we need to relay skills. And skills require a different kind of training. Knowledge is often gained by something I can memorize. I can read it in a book. But skills, oh my gosh, skills I gotta do. And so for skills, what we see, we need a certain kind of things. We need role play. Role play needs to be executed against something. What are we role playing against? We call that a framework, or in Winning by Design's terminology, a blueprint. That blueprint needs to be part of a process. And when I execute that, I execute turn-by-turn directions. These are all things that help you achieve productivity within 3 to 6 months. Blueprint, process, turn-by-turn directions, helping customers do that by role-playing them out. And then the last part is coaching. Coaching is something that is done with somebody not sitting next to you telling you, hey, I would have and could have, should have done that better. Coaching is when somebody listens to your call by a call recording piece of software and identifies which 4 or 5 things are going wrong and which first thing needs to be compensated. For example, if I speak very fast and I don't let the customer finish talking and I keep interrupting, and oh, by the way, I'm talking all the time and selling all the time, I'm making a lot of mistakes. Maybe as a coach, I would then say, why don't we start first by slowing things down so you can think more? By doing that, a single point of coaching solves 3 or 4 issues. A good coach helps you solve 3 to 4 key issues. And that is an idea on what I'm trying to relate to you. There's a difference between knowledge, you knowing how to do it, and skills, you actually being capable of doing it. Skills is what drives productivity, and to achieve that, you must perform role plays against blueprints that are built up against the process and are coached by a manager to help you achieve that.